Hello, my amazing learners, and welcome back to the Wisdom English podcast. My name is Sarah. How do you speak clearly without overthinking every single word? You know that moment when you're talking, and halfway through your sentence, you don't even know what point you're trying to make anymore? I've coached millions of people to improve their English communication skills, and the 9 habits that I'm going to share with you in this podcast will help you become a clearer, more confident, and more impactful English speaker. I wish I had learned these lessons much sooner in my own journey. And make sure you stay with me until the very end, because the final habit I'll share is a simple framework that can completely change how you structure your ideas. We're going to break these 9 habits down into 3 groups: delivery habits, vocal habits, and cognitive habits. Let's start with the first group, delivery habits. Group 1, delivery habits. Delivery habit number 1, pause more. Do you want to sound more confident? Do you want to sound more intelligent? Do you want to sound more trustworthy? If you do, the secret is to pause more. This is easily one of the most overlooked and underestimated tools in communication. Every time I talk about the power of the pause, people are always shocked at how this simple change can create such a huge transformation in their speaking. Our brains crave white space. It's the same reason why paragraphs exist in writing. Look at this example. If I gave you a book, and one page was just a single, solid block of text with no paragraphs, and the next page had the same text but broken up into nice, short paragraphs, which one would look more digestible and easier to read? The one with the paragraphs, of course. The white space gives your eyes a place to rest and your brain a moment to process. Now that we've had a look at this visually, I want to give you an example with sound. Watch what happens if I just keep talking without any pauses and I create no spaces within what I'm saying and I just keep going and everything starts to just blend in together. Do you notice how when there's no separation and there's no pauses, after a while everything I say just becomes mumbo jumbo and nothing really sticks? Only when I do that example in that exact way do you truly understand that without pauses, your ideas blur together. With them, however, your ideas land with impact. And here's the beautiful irony. People who pause more are perceived as being more confident, not less. The pause shows that you are in control. You are not rushing. You are comfortable with the silence, and that comfort projects confidence to your listener. Delivery habit number 2, slow down to highlight. Now, if you pair the habit of pausing with this next delivery habit, you've got a powerful combination. The second habit is to slow down to highlight. Often, most people speak at one speed, one tempo, one rhythm, and often that rhythm is very fast. This was one of my biggest problems when I was learning a new language. My default speaking rate was extremely fast, and old habits die hard. The moment I felt just 10% nervous, I was off to the races, speaking a mile a minute. I thought that if I learned to speak really quickly, it meant I could share lots of information per minute, and that meant I would have more impact. But I didn't realize that speaking like that actually reduces and dilutes your impact instead. When you speak really fast all the time, nothing stands out. It all just blurs together into a wall of sound. It's like you're reading a book and you're highlighting the whole damn page. If everything is highlighted, then nothing is highlighted. Let me show you this example here. You tell me which one hits harder. Version A. I just want to remind you that your voice matters and your communication skills is one of the most important skills that you'll develop in this life. Now, version B. Your voice. It matters. Communication. It's not just a skill. It's a superpower. Now, you tell me, did you feel the difference? Did you notice how when I combined slowing down my speech with a pause, oh, it's just beautiful? And I'm not saying you should always speak like that. I'm saying you should speak like that when you want the point to land, when you want to be more impactful with your words. It's a verbal highlighter. Delivery habit number 3. Use declarative statements. Now, as we move on to delivery habit number 3, let's talk about rambling. Most people ramble a lot, and that's because they haven't learned how to use declarative statements. And again, I want to remind you that these are all skills that you can learn. You are not stuck with your communication skills. These are just habits, and you can change your habits. Often, when it comes to rambling, this happens when your mouth moves faster than your thoughts. You're literally thinking while you're speaking. That's rambling. So, when you learn how to make declarative statements, it helps you reduce the ramble. These are just short, concise, to-the-point sentences that have a full stop at the end of them. Let me give you an example of rambling. So, I was thinking maybe we could, potentially look at the other ideas that we had, the ideas when we were gonna post on social media, more often. So, yeah, I think it's kind of important to maybe consider the timing of the launch too, because, it could possibly affect our engagement level. Oh, I used to talk like that, and it was a mess. It was vague. And the worst thing is, it makes you sound unsure, even when you are sure and you know your stuff. Now, I want you to contrast what you just heard with this next example, where I'm going to use a declarative statement. Timing and consistency with our social media content will directly impact engagement. Boom. How much better was that? I had basically the same message, but it came across 10 times more clear and coherent. Great delivery isn't just about what you say. It's how you control your delivery and energy when you say it. The pause creates space for your ideas to land. Slowing down acts like a verbal highlighter. And declarative statements replace hesitation with clarity and conviction. Together, these 3 delivery habits transform your voice from being background noise into something that people truly want to hear. Group 2. Vocal habits. Now, let's get into Group 2. Vocal habits. When we're thinking about vocal habits, let me ask you a few things to kick things off. Do you ever feel like your throat gets sore after you are speaking for an extended period of time? Do you ever feel extremely fatigued after a presentation? Do you ever lose your voice? Or do you ever feel like your voice doesn't sound strong, and it feels weak? Well, if you relate to any of the things that I just said, you need to understand vocal habit number 1. Vocal habit number 1. Warm up your voice. You must warm up your voice before you use it. Your voice is a muscle system. And just like any muscle, if you go straight from cold to full exertion, you're going to strain it and it's going to underperform. But here's the thing. Vocal warm-ups, they feel awkward, and you sound weird while you're doing them. And because nobody else around you is doing it, you might end up skipping it. But please don't. Here's my go-to warm-up. If there's only one thing I can do, this is what I do. Lip trills. For a full minute on just one note, I do a lip trill. It sounds like this. Imitates lip trill sound. Yes. You do that for a minute. Now, if you struggle doing this, don't worry. Your lips and your mouth are not broken. All you have to do if you struggle is take your 2 index fingers, push your cheeks in gently, and then try again. It works. You're not broken. Some people can do it without support, Some people need a little bit. It's okay. You do that for a full minute, and you breathe as often as you need to. Then, the second part of the exercise. Lip trill your favorite song. And then the last one. Do lip trills in short bursts for a minute. So, you're going. Imitates short lip trill bursts. By doing this, you're warming up your vocal folds without straining them. This helps you reset your breath support, and it also helps you reduce vocal tension. And just remember, do this out of sight. Don't do this in the middle of a work meeting. Do this while you're in the car. And as you start to do this more and more before you need to use your voice, you'll notice your voice getting clearer, you'll have stronger projection, and most importantly, you'll have less vocal fatigue. Vocal habit number 2. Default to nose breathing. Now, this is going to sound a little bit strange, but this habit is going to help protect your voice when you are not speaking. We have massive chunks of the day where we're just sitting by the computer, working on our own, and we don't talk to anybody. How you breathe during those moments can either be protecting your vocal instrument or damaging it. A lot of people, without realizing it, while they're not using their voice, they're defaulting to mouth breathing. This dries out your throat and your vocal cords. It leads to shallow breathing, and you often feel more fatigued as a result. Whereas if you start to train and develop a new habit and you always default to nose breathing, the benefits are just crazy. We take over 0 breaths a day. So, if you can just learn this one simple habit to replace mouth breathing with nose breathing, it's going to optimize how you feel. When you breathe with your nose, it humidifies the air, it keeps your throat and vocal cords hydrated, it improves oxygen efficiency by 20%, it activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which helps you relax, and it filters out all the bad stuff. That's why we have hair on the inside of our nose. This is an important habit check. Just check. What's your default breathing method? Vocal habit number 3, use more volume. And now, moving directly into vocal habit number 3, use more volume when you speak. Now, keep in mind, I'm not talking about shouting. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about speaking with more presence, with more vitality, with a volume that fills the space. When you speak with a healthy volume, you're not just sharing information, you're transferring energy. Every time you speak, your vocal cords vibrate. And those vibrations travel through the air and they hit other people's ears. And it tells them something before your words even land. It tells them, I'm alive, I care, and I believe in what I'm saying. People don't just hear what you're saying, they feel it. Volume isn't just about being heard. It's about being felt. People subconsciously link vocal strength to personal strength. When your voice is small, they might assume your ideas are small too. But when your voice carries, so does your conviction. Group 3. Cognitive habits. Alright, let's move on to our final group. Cognitive habits. These are the habits of your mind. Cognitive habit number 1. Finish one thought at a time. If you want to sound more clear, if you want to sound smarter, and you want to sound more confident, you must finish one thought at a time. When you don't finish a thought before starting the next one, your listener has to mentally chase you, and most of the time they actually won't chase you. They'll just zone out. Did you notice how in my rambling example earlier, there was no structure, no clarity? Your brain is multitasking mid-sentence. It's trying to say something while also thinking of the next thing. And that creates fragmented speech. It sounds unsure, scattered, and messy, even if your ideas are brilliant. And that's the painful part. Master communicators do this instead. They start a thought, they finish it, then they pause, and then they move on to the next idea. Cognitive habit number 2. Use frameworks. Have you ever had a great idea, but halfway through explaining it, you could see people getting confused? Look, we've all been there. You are not the problem. Your structure is. And that's why I want to show you a simple 3-step framework to make you a better communicator. And that's cognitive habit number 2. Learn to use frameworks. Let's use a simple framework called CCC. It stands for Context, Core, and Connect. And what this framework does is it allows you to explain complex ideas in a way that actually makes sense. Here's how it works. First, context. Set the scene. Give people the why before the what. Most people rush towards their content. Don't. Give them context first. Then, you move to the core. Deliver your main idea. Keep it clear, keep it simple. And there should only be one main idea here. And then, connect. Show them why it matters to them, the relevance. For example, let's say you were talking to your boss about a project. Here's how it would work. Hey boss, as you know, we're about to release the new online course and the timing is tight. That's the context. Look, we are going to need extra editors if we want to meet the deadline. That's the core idea. This is going to allow us to finish on time without burning the team out and at the same time protect the brand. That's the connection, why it matters. That's the power of frameworks. You stop over-explaining and you go from rambling to resonating. Cognitive habit number 3. Use analogies. And now, let's get on to the final cognitive habit. If you learn how to use this final habit, you're going to be able to explain complex ideas with absolute ease. I remember one time, my mom was trying to explain to my dad how compounding interest works. And this is how she explained it. Okay, honey. The compounding interest is the exponential growth, where the interest starts to accrue not only on the principal, but also on the previously accumulated interest. My dad and we didn't understand it. So, the next time someone doesn't get what you're saying, instead of just explaining it slower or louder, explain it differently, with an analogy. Analogies are shortcuts to understanding. They take something complex and they tie it to something simple and familiar. And that's what makes them so powerful. It connects the unknown to the known. So, instead of using that overly complex definition, my mom should have just used the classic snowball analogy. Compounding interest is like rolling a snowball downhill. At first, it's really small, but as it rolls, it picks up more snow. And the bigger it gets, the faster it grows. The earlier you start investing, the bigger your snowball becomes. That's way easier to digest, right? When you use analogies, you tap into visual memory, emotional resonance, and real-world logic all at once. Analogies do 3 things. They make your message stick. They make complex ideas simple. And they make you more relatable and more memorable. So, if you want to be remembered, stop just explaining and start connecting the complex with the familiar. The final secret. These 9 habits have completely changed the way I communicate and, more importantly, how I connect with others. The better you speak, the more of your true self the world gets to meet. And if you ever doubted the power of your voice, let me leave you with this beautiful quote by Maya Angelou, who says, "People will forget what you've said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel." And now, for the secret I promised at the beginning. The simple secret to making all of these habits work is mindfulness. It's the practice of paying attention to how you are speaking in the present moment without judgment. When you are mindful, you can notice when you are speaking too fast. You can feel the power of a well-placed pause. You can choose to use a declarative statement instead of rambling. Mindfulness is the master habit that makes all the other habits possible. So, my challenge to you is this. For the next week, I want you to choose just one of the 9 habits we talked about today. Just one. And I want you to practice it with mindfulness. Don't try to be perfect. Just try to be aware. Notice how it feels. Notice the effect it has on your listeners. That simple act of mindful practice will change everything. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Wisdom English podcast channel to watch our next videos.